Hello and welcome to the Trading Mindset Podcast. My name's Nilton Fernandez, and on our podcast we look to talk to traders that have educated themselves to successfully trade the markets today. As you know, this can be a tough gig for anyone starting out, but we look to get inside the minds of these successful traders and understand the strategies that they use, the morning rituals or morning routines that they follow, and how they trade upon the economic news. We also have much more.
Hello, and my name is Louise Nonwheeler. I am the co-host of the Trading Mindset Podcast. I am a multi-award-winning clinical hypnotherapist and life coach, and I specialize in working with financial traders on their psychology of trading. In this podcast, we talk to traders about their emotions that they experience, the challenges that they face on a daily basis, and the techniques that they have used that have really helped them to get from where they are to becoming profitable traders.
Hello and welcome to another episode of the Trading Mindset Podcast. My name's Nilton Fernandez, and as ever, I'm joined by my lovely co-host, Louise Nonwheeler. Louise, how are you?
As always, I am feeling good. I'm doing really well, thanks, Nilton. How are you doing?
Yeah, really good. We've had good weather here in Switzerland, so can't really complain. Yeah, and work's busy, work life's busy, sorry. So really enjoying it at the moment. So
Good.
yourself?
Good. Yeah, I mean, just the same really. It's busy. Time seems to be speeding up. You know, we're in March already, aren't we, next week? So, but looking forward to spring and all of the great things that it brings. So
Yeah, exactly.
Good, thanks. Yeah,
perfect.
So we have another special guest on the show. His name is Bojan Petreski. Bo and I have known each other for a couple of years now, and Bo is a part-time trader converting to a full-time trader. He lives in California, and so welcome to the show, Bo.
Hey, Bo.
Hi, Nilton. Hi, Louise. Thank you for having me. I'm glad to be here.
No problem. The pleasure's ours.
Lovely to have you.
Lovely. So, Bo, listen, you live in California. That's a lovely part of the world to live in. Talk to us about that.
It's wonderful. We've been here. We actually moved here right before COVID hit, so we kind of didn't get to enjoy the full extent of the beautiful California weather, but we moved here 2019 and haven't looked back since. Quite frankly, the weather does impact you so much that you notice it on yourself, and then you notice it how other people are missing out on it. So, not to rub it into the British weather, but guys, it's something else.
So you're living the dream out there.
Yeah.
Yes, sir. Yes. Yep.
The Good Californian dream.
Hey?
The Californian dream. Yeah.
California dream. That's right.
Yeah. So tell us, because before you were in New Jersey, weren't you? And then obviously you moved, back in 2019. What was the reasons why you moved?
So first off, why not? Is something that I always tell everybody. I myself, I am an immigrant to the United States. I was born in Macedonia, currently North Macedonia. I came to the States when I was in high school. I actually ended up living in the Midwest a little bit in Indiana and Illinois. Then went out to New Jersey because that's where all the people that I knew were. And then after a while, you get to thinking, you're not married to the state, so why stay there? We did some soul searching with my wife, and we had a newborn at the time. He was not even one actually when we moved, and we said it's either now or never. If we don't move now, we're never moving.
Yeah.
So we kind of went. We packed up our apartment, went on a 2.5-month trip around Europe, came back and went all the way to California and found a place, lived here for a little bit. Then COVID hit, but we made it through.
Amazing.
Nice.
Amazing.
Yeah.
How old are you, Bob?
Some roots down. I am 32, sir.
Wow.
Yeah.
So you've got a lot of life experiences already.
Yeah.
Yeah, a little bit, here and there.
Perfect. I mean, let's go to your trading. I mean, how long have you been doing it for? When did you I mean, what made you start trading? Have you been successful, or are you still finding the struggles? Talk to us about that.
So, a little bit of everything there. I started, my first exposure to the market overall was just as I was going through my day-to-day job in construction back when I was a project manager for a contractor. It felt a little bit like those spinning mouse wheels. It's just day in day out, nothing else is changing. So then I got to looking around and says, hey, this company called Online Trading Academy comes around and says, come and we'll teach you how to do this trading at night. So I'm like, wow, this is interesting. So in 2014, I want to say it was, is when I was first exposed to just trading education, not really trading. And since then, it's been a bit of a ride. If I'm being honest, I found it was like every time I found success, it was as if the markets wanted to just kind of knock me back to reality and say, no, you don't have it yet.
Yeah.
And it's a humbling lesson nonetheless, every step of the way. And fast forward, moving to California. Partially the reason why I moved into California is because California is obviously 3 hours behind New York. So I am a very early bird. I usually wake up around 4:30 o'clock in the morning.
Oh wow.
And that's the perfect time for me to get in the market because futures aren't open yet, stocks aren't open yet, forex is open, but you get a lot of action around those times too.
Yeah.
And on top of that you could be done with kind of your day by 1 or 2 o'clock in the afternoon. Seemed very attractive to me because before I was working from home, I was commuting 2 hours every day plus the 8-hour day. So you're spending, a part-time job commuting and a full-time job at work. Just didn't seem like a very, a pleasant life to be living for the rest of my life.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm at that stage now, to be honest with you. I'm working, but the commute and everything, I just tell myself, I'm going to go full time because in trading, that is, because life's worth living, and just working and traveling just to pay for your lifestyle is not something that I'm happy with at the moment. So
Yeah.
I'm with you on that, buddy. So yeah, I hope you succeed in your journey and become the full-time trader which you want.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. So, Bo, going back, I mean, you started back in 2014. You've come such a long way, haven't you? Let's talk about the kind of education and the training that you've had over that time, if that's all right.
Okay. Yeah. So I've gone through I would say the typical curriculum that they had over at OTA, which is, you go in for an intro. I want to say it was like an 8-hour free session where they just kind of, introduce you to some stuff. Then you do a 3-day. I think that one was also either free or it was like pay something, but it goes towards your tuition type of a situation. It was a while back. A 3-day one, and where they kind of tell you like these are the opportunities, these are the options, these are the classes, and so on. And something that I really liked at the time was actually forex trading, because obviously I have my full-time job. There's no way I can trade while I got construction management going on at 9:30 in the morning. So forex is like, well, forex is perfect for you because it's open nearly 24/5 or 24/6, whatever it comes out to be.
Yeah.
And there is volume, there's activity in the sense. So I took a forex class, then I took a futures class, and I found some success early on. Like I said, I made some money, and I was like, wow, this is it. I'm quitting my job. This is for me.
Yeah. Yeah.
Wham comes several losses in a row, and then kicks in the trading psychology, and then all the luggage and baggage and rounds with yourself that you have to fight in a ring, and no one can win because you're the audience and both fighters. And that knocked me out. And honestly, I was like, no, this isn't for me, even though I don't even want to remember how much money for those 3 courses.
Yeah.
Right.
And that additional weight kind of weighing down and playing onto your psychology and thinking like you spent all this money, like if you just invested this money you could have done this, the thoughts that go in the back of your head.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
But nonetheless, there's always a winner in every one of my losers, and the biggest winner that I got out of OTA is that I was actually exposed to all these traders who are experienced and profitable. But not just that, I got to meet Jose Blasco, who's actually my mentor to this day. When it comes to trading, he's the one that I go to whenever I'm in a downward move or in an upward move, whenever I'm bragging about wins or bragging about losses.
Yeah.
So he's been kind of the person that I met through Online Trading Academy. And he's the one that to this day I keep in touch with and work with, actually.
Yeah.
Just a quick question, Bojan. Sorry to cut you off there, mate, but I went through the OTA academy as well. Are you still using their strategies, or have you expanded on that and learned more?
The way that I switched off everything else and I turned the stuff that worked for me is just to keep things very black and white. And I could never get there with supply and demand from OTA, because every supply and demand zone could be seen as a supply and demand zone for every person differently, and they could qualify differently. Sometimes we're going to agree on stuff, but I don't want to agree on stuff sometimes. I want to agree on stuff all the time.
Yeah.
And that's where Jose's trade with UFOs and auto UFOs indicator and honestly the education team that we have behind it, me being a part of it now, and I've been a part of it for a couple of years now. That's what gave me that aha clarity moment, right? There's no hidden back strategy type of situation that's going on in the background there that, one instructor at OTA may say, oh, this is a good quality zone. Another one may say, well, that's okay, but I'm not going to take it, but you can take it. Or, something that subjectively can change. And then it's easy to analyze after the fact. But when you're in front of the screen by yourself trading it, you're going to always ask yourself, well, am I taking this trade or am I not?
Yes.
Right. And I could never 100% with clarity in my mind answer that question just with supply and demand. So the auto UFOs, which I use to this day, answer that question for me as clear as, night and day. There's no unexplained entries or exits. There's only, is it according to the plan or not? Mistakes happen, don't get me wrong. I do them on the daily. Okay, you get a little carried away and excited. You make a mistake, you go and you're like, crap, there goes another C- trade. But there's no, I entered because I felt like it was the right thing, or I entered because insert random reason here.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. And let's talk about that. Let's talk about Jose and trade with UFOs, because I know Jose. He's an amazing guy, a great trader. He's got a fantastic company. And so let's talk more about that if you can, because obviously that, he's your mentor. I mean, how are you involved now still with the company and so forth?
So, Jose, I actually, and this, I think this is the main thing, is sometimes the key to finding success, I think, is reaching out and asking for help rather than just trying to figure out and reinvent the wheel on your own.
Yeah.
And I reached out to Jose a long time ago when he was first starting with tradewithufos.com, the website, and the indicator was available on TradeStation. And I had subscribed to it a long time ago, and I said, you know what, let's revisit this. Maybe there's something to this. And I reached out and I said, hey, Jose, I don't know if you're still with OTA and this and that. He said, no, doing my own thing. And I got to it and I said, you know what, I'm going to stick with this. And if I can't make this work, I'm quitting trading. I'm done.
Right.
Because that was the third round, I want to say, where I didn't blow up an account, but it was a substantial hole. Okay. Right. And we know those, like you start with 5,000, you get to like $7,000. You're like, whoa, this is it. I'm killing it. And then boom, a 4,000 loss within a matter of 2 weeks.
Yeah. Wow. Yeah.
And that's where I was. And I had an honest one-to-one with my wife. And I said, listen, this is the last thing. Either this is going to work or I'm quitting trading. And she said, okay. And I'm going to make you, hold to that. I'm going to hold you to it. Mm-hmm. And so I reached out to Jose, and Jose said, yes, here's the indicators, here's the stuff, here's how you use it. Here are, 20 hours of YouTube videos of how we exactly go about this. This is when we meet. This is how we do it. And every step of the way, I gave him feedback, and every step of the way, I basically had him tag along with me on my journey to understanding, using, and utilizing the UFOs. To the point where Jose actually invited me to like co-host a sharpening session, as we call them, on the weekends with him. And then from there on out, I actually joined him afterwards on on becoming an instructor for the channel.
Right.
So yeah, I'm doing the futures, forex, and crypto trading, day trading, short-term trading aspect of it. So that was like the progression. Is I became the student, and then kind of the apprentice, and then now the instructor.
It's amazing progress, Bo. Well done with that.
Within a pretty short period of time, I would say it was about 1.5 years or so.
Okay.
Yeah.
Wow.
Okay.
Yeah. So using this strategy, obviously you found consistency now, which is probably one of the best things for a trader, is to have that. How does it work? Are you able to break it down for us or the listeners so they understand it a little bit?
It's a really it's a very visual type of indicator. It's essentially it's not only a algo that runs in the background, but it's actually a patented and proprietary technology that Jose has developed on his own from scratch, that we utilize to this day, which is the auto UFOs. They essentially, and UFO, reminds you of the word flying saucer, right? Unidentified flying object. Well, they stand for unfilled orders. And what you do is, depending on the platform you use, but it's typically the same thing, you see these flying saucers with horizontal lines running across them, and they're colored either red or green. Mm-hmm. So the immediate, observation that you have, if you have just a little bit of trading experience, is when you see a green UFO, what do? Right? You buy. When you see a red UFO, what do? You sell. You go short.
Mm-hmm.
So that's the visual aspect of it. And then in the back end, there's plenty of other things that we call the autoclimate, which is like a trend, but a much more statistically oriented version of it, where it tells you, hey, look for long opportunities, look for short opportunities based on what that market is doing at that exact moment. And not just that, it has a count, because we've all heard the saying, the trend is your friend, but it'll bend in the end. But timing that bend is also, I think, very important. So you want to know, listen, am I at the beginning of this race? Am I in the middle of it? Or am I at the back of it and I'm going to get, slapped around? So combining all those several elements, you're able to come up with a strategy that there are no unanswered questions on any aspect or scenario that you can see on the chart.
Right. Okay.
Right. Is this 100% winning strategy? Absolutely not. I wouldn't be here if that was the case. Right. I'd just be keeping this as a secret to myself.
Yeah.
Right. But, it gives you consistency, and it gives you room for back testing, where you can, back test things and then apply them and then see it for yourself.
Back testing is such an important part of trading. And I think it's what every trader should be doing. So can we speak about the transition from you being a student to an instructor?
I honestly think the most powerful teacher is just, personal experience.
Yeah.
And to an extent, like every person that I've helped and aided, or at least shared with experiences with, every student that's been on our live trading sessions or even one-on-one sessions that I've had, um, it's really been all about how do you help this person learn from your own mistakes. Because a lot of times, it's good to make your own mistakes. I just want people not to make as many as I did and lose as much money as I did, because again, that can weigh you down, and it takes an exorbitant amount of fortitude in your mind to just get over that, or almost forget those things that they happen so you can move on forward. Because I know people that, they've gotten hurt with trading or investing, or even just kind of putting some money or even giving somebody else money to trade for them. And they say, no, 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 this is gambling. This is a casino. And in the casino, the house always wins. And then you try to tell them, but look at this. Like, I'm showing you how to do this. I've been doing this myself. Give it a shot. Spend the time in front of these couple of YouTube videos, see what I do, see how I do it. And I don't think it's rocket science. I think it's very teachable and very learnable.
Yeah.
It's not rocket science.
Yeah, absolutely. Okay. So if it's okay, let's talk about the psychology of trading, because you have worked really hard on your psychology. And obviously, you mentioned in the beginning, especially you came up into the boxing ring with yourself and struggled with like the emotions that came up, the challenges. I mean, let's talk about that, Bo.
Absolutely. So yeah, I mean, it's definitely weighs you down when you spend money on something, and you could say I don't expect a return, but your subconscious is always gonna remind you every once in a while, be like, hey, remember when you spent $1,000 on those shoes, and you ripped them the next day?
Yeah.
So it's kind of the same game that your mind's gonna play on you. Like, remember when you spent X amount of money on this trading education and you haven't made a dime from it. So that baggage comes with it, but being clear-minded is absolutely key when it comes to trading psychology.
Yeah.
Without bringing in that baggage with you in front of the screen every day. It's okay to keep track of that stuff. It's okay because it'll remind you, and if anything, it'll push you.
Yeah.
But at the same time, you don't want to be doing it because of that. You want to be doing it because you want to make this work.
Yes.
And if I can be, completely transparent and honest, I was aware of this, but I was having a hard time getting over it. And I shared this many, many, many times over with Jose, and I would tell him, like, listen, I'm not going into these trades because I think I'm going to lose the money. He says, so are you risking too much money? I said, no, I'm going to the plan. It's only, 2% per trade as agreed. And not even that, but some of them were, such small amounts on the micro contracts on futures that you sometimes drink a more expensive coffee than some of those stops. So Jose is actually the one that then afterwards referred me to you, Luis, and that's when we had several of the sessions that we had, the recordings that I had, and starting to listen to those at night, listening to them in the morning. It almost kind of sets you off the curb into the highway, so you can drive with a clear mind. After a while, it gets to the point where you don't necessarily need it.
Yep.
But your brain almost like has that muscle memory that says, hey, remember last time when you were like off the ramp?
Yeah.
And how Luis's videos helped you to get back on track? You remember that? And it's like, oh yeah, I remember that. It's pretty cool. All right, let's do that now again, please, in front of the screen.
Yes.
And then you like reshape yourself, kind of regather yourself, because I'll be honest with you, right? It's a friend of mine that said, a fellow trader of mine, that actually has it in one of his affirmations, which I stole from him. And it goes like this: losses to a trader is what blood is to a surgeon.
Wow.
No.
Okay.
Yeah.
If you want to be a surgeon and are afraid of blood, you're going to have a bad time. You're not going
Yeah.
to be a
Yeah.
surgeon.
Yeah. Interesting. I've never
Okay.
heard
And
that before. Yeah.
as soon as I read it, and this is a person I met recently who's also part of our Trade with UFOs team, Josip, and I'm just gonna tell you right now, this is gonna get stolen and it's gonna get copied on my affirmations that I'm gonna see every day.
Yeah.
Because when you get 3, 4, 5, 6, I think is my worst streak that I've had, 6 losses in a row. You're like, what the hell am I doing wrong?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, Bo, you mentioned something there that resonated with me when I traded and lost a lot of money. You said, you get scared of entering trades. How did you overcome that? Because I remember going through a phase where I looked at my account and I had lost so much money that I was actually scared to go into this trade. And even if I did go into it, I would leave so much money on the table because I would just try and grab whatever I could, if you know what I mean. And then when you see the move, you think, wow, that's just a tiny portion of what I could have got.
Yeah.
Because that's one of the things that I struggled with. So maybe you can elaborate on that and how you overcome it, because there might be some listeners out there that are actually in that situation.
Well, yeah, I was in that exact situation, and something that Jose, my mentor, said, and he said, "Okay, I need you to make yourself and your wife a deal." I said, "What is it?" He said, "Every time, doesn't matter what the outcome is, every time a trade presents itself in front of you, you go in. If you do not, you have to give, agree on an amount, but you have to give an X amount of dollars to your wife, regardless of what the outcome of that trade is." He's like, because that means you're trying to separate your brain. He's like, you're the analyst, but also the executioner of the trading system that you're doing, right? Because typically, trade firms, right, have analysts. The analyst gives the slip to the trader, and now imagine the trader's like, you know what? I don't feel like this is gonna work. That trader's getting fired.
Yeah.
Right? So what do? He's like, I need you to do something that your brain is physically going to connect with you making the wrong decision. And it needs to be something physical, something tangible. He's like, get like $100 of cash in dollar bills and just give her $1 for every time that you don't go into a trade.
Wow. Yeah.
Okay. And I'm like, yo, this is okay. I'm like, I'm going to try it. He's like, try it. And next week, I want you to tell me how much money Gabby made from you being a bad trader.
Interesting. Yeah. Yeah. And how did it work?
I didn't give her a single dollar.
Oh, wow.
I went into every single trade, made money. I think that was my best week in a while.
Yeah.
And I killed it. I mean, I absolutely brushed it that week. Not only did that bring the whole account back in the positive, but I believe that was the week or the month that I actually pulled profits from my account for the very first time in my life.
I love that. It's almost like, in a way, reverse psychology, isn't it? And what does that show you? It shows you the power of the mind. It shows you, like, the blocks, the limitations that we put in our mind, and just even changing, our perception, our environment can completely do a 180 shift. I love that, Bo.
Oh, I bet your missus wasn't happy though.
Oh no, she was, because then when I got the check from the brokerage firm, not only did I deposit it, and we went on an expensive dinner, and I said, "This is partially thanks to you." I framed that check, and it's now in my office as my very first profit from trading that I ever made.
Good man.
Well done. Well done. And do you still use that method or that system? Do you still need to?
No, I haven't needed to. I just go into trades. My main goal is to make sure I execute to 100%, compliance to my plan.
Yeah.
The outcome, the market's going to do whatever the heck the market's going to do. Okay. Putin can get on a call with Biden today and the market's going to tank. And is that going to be according to your plan or my plan? Absolutely not.
Yeah.
But that market move would have happened with that, whether or not you were on it or not. you were going to get wicked out or stopped out, or maybe it was going to go your way and slip you for a couple of $100s, right? And that's all outside factors. The inside factor and you know, the trading psychology factor behind it is what I tend to focus on. And I just want to make sure that I'm executing not 99% according to my plan, 100% to my plan.
Okay.
And, you know, I want to make sure that everything that I execute, there's no gray area where I can say, okay, well, I should have gone long here, but I went here because I thought it was better. No, this is where I should have gone in, and I did go in, and that's it. It stopped me out. I made money. I'm still trying to sometimes, you know, reserve my feelings when I get like 4 or 5 winners in a row. I still try not to get overly confident and excited about it. But it's also the reverse. When you get 4 or 5 losers the same in a row, you know, I try to kind of temper my frustration with the market, because sometimes, you know, things that were working last week aren't working this week.
Yeah.
But you just have to, you know, keep at it.
Yeah.
And that's all it is.
Yeah. How do you manage your state? How do you sort of manage your emotions? You know, you've clearly done a lot of work, Bo, you know, on your performance, on kind of your psychology of trading. And, you know, we spoke about sort of the work that we did together. But going forward, how do you now, in this present moment and going forward, manage your emotions if there is a series of losses or it's not going your way?
So, you know, sometimes it's easier, sometimes it's harder, and there's also some, you know, other additional factors here in you know, the fact that we're renovating our home, and this and that. But most of the time, I try as much as I can, as humanly possible as I can, to avoid the extremes of both sides. Avoid the extremes of overconfidence, and avoid the extremes of, wow, I'm a, you know, such a bad trader that I can't make, you know, XYZ happen.
Yeah.
In the middle of it all, I'm quite centered, and, you know, I'm okay with losses. I'm okay with winners. Whenever I get a string of losses, like if I were to get 3 losses in the same day, that's it for me. 3 is 3 and you're out. If I get 3 losing days in a single week, let's say Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday are all losers, and it's just overall losses, I'm done for the week.
Yeah.
So I do have some certain hard limits with it. I can, you know, if I get 2 losers, but then the third one's going to exceed my daily loss, I'm flexible on that, because sometimes for some reason that third one tends to bring me back not only into the positive, not only into wiping out the losses, but into the positive. So I'm flexible on that. But when it comes to 3 losses in a day, hard limit out. 3 losing days in a week, hard limit out for the rest of the week, and just do something else. Go watch TV. Go. Just do something else.
Yeah.
I mean,
not,
but
you know.
Yeah. Great.
How often are you spending in front of the screen bar?
Well, because I work as a construction consultant right after I'm done with trading, I essentially, you know, trading specifically, it's between 4:30 and about 8:15 in the morning for me, which is 7:30 Eastern to about 11:30 Eastern. So I capture, you know, a bit of the London session, and I capture the US Open, and that's my primary time. Then I go take my son to school. I come back. I just check on how things went. Maybe do some documentation. I still keep the charts open just because I like to keep an eye on things. Because now I'm into some longer term plays, not just some day trades where, you know, you close them, you're done for the day. I like to keep an eye on them. If something really presents itself, I'll go back in after the fact. But I would say my most focused time, where it's okay, this is what I'm doing for these next 3 to 4 hours, is those when I wake up in the morning, you know, have my morning coffee, listen to my morning motivational videos, my affirmations, doing the habitual stuff that is happening now. try to squeeze in a workout or here and there in the morning when I can, when I'm not feeling sick,
Yeah.
because I think that's crucial and key. And then sit down in front of the computer and get on the hunt.
Good stuff. Good stuff. I mean, while we're talking about that, how do you see the markets at the moment?
So long-term wise, I think the S&P still has some room to head down. This is, not advice, just observation. I think it still has some room to go to the downside before it can pick something up. Obviously, right now, the geopolitical atmosphere is just absolutely dismal.
Yeah.
This is unprecedented times. I think this is stuff of, you read stuff like this in the history books of other countries invading other countries in this day and age. Modern world countries, Russia, Ukraine. And it's just a little surreal. There was that 2014, the Crimea annexation was also, what in the world's going on here. Then there was then there's this of today, which is, sanctions are up, tensions are up. It kicks in the volatility. There's a lot more movement, right?
Yeah.
It's just there's a little bit of uncertainty, and when there's uncertainty, day trading is great. Swing trading, not so much. Position trading is usually taking it on the nose.
Yeah.
I'm kind of diversified to the best of my ability. I got some stuff in crypto. I got some stuff in some ETFs and stuff like that. So some of it is doing, passive income generation. Some of it is automated. Some of it is me directing it and kind of taking it from one pocket and putting it into the other. But I think globally, overall, the markets, I think, were almost artificially propped up by money printing. That now we're seeing, pullbacks, and we're seeing pullbacks even today. Actually, I'm looking at the market right now. This is another % down day for the S&P. I think there's more room to fall, maybe under the 4,000s on the S&P, and until things stabilize a little bit more, because things are uncertain. Times are uncertain, and when times are uncertain, people don't like risky stuff.
Absolutely, yeah. And what you just touched on, Bo, in regards to kind of what's going on around the world, it affects the economy, it affects the markets, it affects people's emotions and how they kind of react to certain news, fundamental news, and so forth. And we're seeing that in the markets, aren't we?
Oh, absolutely. I mean, most of the time, markets are, to an extent, a reflection of what's going on with the world. But when things really hit the fan, markets really reflect that hit of the fan. On the way up, things could be looking all peachy and rosy, and the market might be going sideways. But when things take a turn, the market is taking the elevator down. It's not taking the stairwell down.
Yeah. And let's touch on that, if that's okay. A lot of investors and traders are predicting a crash for, the coming future. I mean, what are your predictions on this?
I honestly expected one. I want to say, to the extent of honesty, I think it was bound to happen sometime last year.
Yeah.
It never did. Actually, the market went up, and obviously I was in the wrong for that. We did have some pullbacks, but it was just a healthy pullback on the way up. This year, given how tense things are geopolitically, I think we are probably seeing at least as much as we've gone down from the all-time highs, which, if I'm not mistaken, I think it was like close to about 12 or 13% overall that we've gone down from the all-time highs in December.
Yeah.
I think after the 20% mark, things really start to get a little rocky, and people start to think, okay, are we entering a bear market, or is this another pullback? So if things don't hold where they are now, around this 4,200 area on the S&P, we're going down quite a bit lower.
Yeah.
And we're thinking maybe, I mean, at least I'm thinking around the 38 to 3900s could be a potential area that could give us some healthy support. But overall, as the market overall, yeah, I think it still has some legroom to the downside. Naturally speaking, and then cyclically speaking, for Q1 of every year, most of the time you do see a pullback. It's just this has been a lengthier pullback, if it is a pullback and not a shift to a bear market.
Yes, yeah. And that's something to watch, isn't it? Very closely.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Do you think it's a good time for new traders to get in? People learning how to trade.
This is kind of something that a friend of mine in real estate also kind of touched on. When is a good time to buy a real estate, right? If you had an opportunity to buy it, the market's expensive and you had an opportunity to buy it, but you didn't buy it, and next year it became more expensive, you lost money, right? So it's the same thing with trading. The earlier you get your feet wet with it, the earlier you get to experience those emotions of trading, the better you're going to be off, because whether the market's going up or down, money can be made. There's no such thing as we can only make money on the way down or on the way up. That's my opinion. So the earlier you get to it, the earlier you can backtest some information, the earlier you can get some real life experience, potentially with real money, the better you're going to be off. So yeah, absolutely. Any time is a good time to become financially literate.
Good answer.
So apart from trading, before we wrap up the show, Bo, what does your daily life look like, other than trading? What's trading given you to or allowed you to do?
So trading is essentially right now supplementing my income to the point where, it's getting there, but it's not quite there to surpass my consulting construction income. I want it to get to the point where it will surpass it for a year, where I can finally start dialing down, or at least giving out some of my work to other people, and then just take a small percentage of their money for me giving it to them, because that's always an option. And then I fully want to dive into the markets. I fully want to be exposed to them. I particularly like the power of couple hours and done. That's your income. Like that. That's the point where you don't worry about money. You trade for a couple hours a day, and that's it. The day's open in front of you. If you want to do something else in finance, great. If you want to go, I don't know, walk in parks all day, go for it. If you want to be like me and spend some time developing or doing some construction with my wife, for example, go do it. Whatever fulfills it, as long as money is not really a concern anymore. That's what I'm trying to get trading to be for me, where money is no longer a concern. And we're not talking those flamboyant, luxurious lives, or where you park the Lambo and the Maserati out front and the Aston Martin's on the road, and we're wheels up soon type of situation. Not that that's out of reach. You can always aim high, but that's not going to come overnight.
Yeah.
You need some money behind you. And you don't want to build that money so rapidly that when you actually do put some position sizing behind you, it ends up blowing up in your face.
It's clear to hear, Bo, that one of your values or passions is freedom of time, isn't it? To kind of be your own boss, to be accountable, and to just say, you know what, a couple of hours, and the day is mine. That's clearly important to you, isn't it?
I think the most important thing, right? Because let's be very honest. There's one thing that is finite in this world, and that is our time on this world. So if you spend it slaving away at a job that you don't like or love, then you're doing it wrong. And the weekend shouldn't be an escape from that life, but kind of a time to just refocus and re-energize, rather than just wait for the weekend to come so you can finally live life. That's just not the way to do it. And I think to an extent, COVID, as bad as it was, it showed that to certain people.
Yeah,
That you don't
I
have
agree.
to be in commuting for 2 hours a day, and you don't have to be sitting in a cubicle for 8 hours a day or 7.5 hours a day, or whatever the case is.
Yeah. Wise
I
call.
was wanting that life 2 years before COVID. I finally got to experience it right before COVID, and I got to live it during COVID. It's unfortunate, but it's like everybody's freaking out. Meanwhile, here I am with my 4 screens, 2 computers, and streaming equipment ready to go.
Good stuff.
So I feel like I beat them to the punch. Not that I
Yeah.
wanted that, but it happened.
Yeah. There's always a
Good stuff.
blessing, isn't there? Always a
Mm-hmm.
blessing in everything if we can kind of see that. And
Absolutely.
Yeah.
One last question, Bo, before we wrap up, mate. You mentioned about, potentially next year you're going to go into full time. Have you prepared yourself for that mentally? Because obviously there's that psychological part where you have to create an income through trading, and then on top of that comes responsibility. You have a family, for example, you have
Yep.
to pay a mortgage and whatever outgoings you have. Have you mentally prepared yourself?
So I have, that's part of the reason why I need a full year of trading to exceed my consulting income. That's, I feel like, a decent enough period of time where you can say to yourself, okay, it's been a whole year in a market where it goes up, it goes down, right? You still made money. There's certain additional streams of income that I have that are just kind of there, that are going to always support. But I want to get to the point where for a whole year, trading is exceeding that income of consulting before I commit and say, okay, now it's time to start ramping down on the consulting and ramp up only on the trading, where instead of, just the 3 hours in the day, I spend those 3 hours in the day, but I also think about some longer term positions in the background that could potentially be giving up that supplement income. So
Yeah.
when I say, trading to give me my full income, I mean my day trading plus my swing trading plus my position trading plus the passive income plus the automated trading, all of them combined to give me and keep giving me that money in the background, where it's not hindering their growth, but it's also not worrying me about money.
Yes.
Good stuff.
Yeah. You've
So-
clearly, this is really inspiring, Bo, because you've clearly really sat down, done your homework, worked it out. What needs to change? What am I going to do going forward? I mean, you've really planned this well, haven't you? So
I try to, because number one, my number one, how should I put this? My number one, my wife is my number one person that I confide to, and my number one person that's gonna call me on any BS that I try to pull. Okay, so she's the one that's gonna say, okay, you said you're gonna do A, B, C. You've done A and B, but C's not there. So what's up? Okay, so it's really nice to have somebody to, not just kind of give you the encouragement. That's nice, don't get me wrong, but it's nice to have somebody to just verify that what you're saying and what you're doing is actually happening. And that's when you switch things around.
Yeah.
Not because you chose to, not because you wanted to, not because you felt like it.
Yeah.
No, but because statistically and monetarily you proved it, and here it is.
Yeah. And
Good man.
it's really lovely
Yeah.
that you got that support. You got your wife. She sounds like a great support, and, almost like a
Yep.
coach and a mentor as well,
Exactly.
Yeah. Okay.
Right. I think that's it. I mean, we've thoroughly enjoyed you having on the show, Bo. It's been very insightful. You obviously, like Louise said, you've done your homework. You've really gone out and put together a solid plan. So we wish you all the success, mate, and we'd love to have you back on the show just to see what happens. Louise, if there's anything else you want to add before we close off?
Of course. Bo, thank you so much. I've really enjoyed, everything that you've had to share, talking about your journey. I've loved the analogies, when you talked about the boxing ring and the surgeon and the dollar bills. I've made notes, by the way. So just really thank you so much. It's been an absolute pleasure having you on the show.
Absolutely. And thank you very much for inviting me. And Luis, not a small part of my journey was successful thanks to you and your recordings and your sessions that we had together. Because that's when I feel like that's when things started really shifting and going on to an upwards trend.
Thank you so much. Thank you. Yeah,
Absolutely.
And it was
Absolutely.
a pleasure. It was a pleasure working with you. That time, because I really did see a transformation in you. But it's always a pleasure, and I'm always here for you. So
Absolutely. Thank you so much, and Nilton, a pleasure also speaking with you as well.
No problem, buddy. All the best. Take care.
Thank you. Take care,
Thank you.
folks.
Bye. If you are a trader who is struggling with their psychology and you would like more information on the Trading Mindset program, then please visit www.hypnosisfortraders.co.uk. The program is changing the lives for so many traders, and you can read and watch the many success stories. You can also access a free 21-day transformational audio. This is to help gain better self-discipline as a trader. So please visit the website. Thank you.